Welcome to the Warframe Weapon Encyclopedia, where today we're checking out the Cobra and Crane. You can get the blueprint for the Cobra and Crane from the market, and it's actually very cheap, aside from the 2 argon crystals which you can easily get from the Void. The Cobra and Crane is a Mastery Rank 10 sword, or in this case a mace, and a shield that does primarily impact damage with a little bit of puncture on the side. And it comes with okay-ish crit with below average crit multiplier and decent status. Now the Cobra and Crane is one of those swords and shields where you can actually throw the shield as well, so instead of having a regular air attack, if you attack in the air you will throw your shield instead. Now this does a little bit of damage and it knocks the enemies down, opening them up to a ground finisher. It also makes it fairly difficult to do slams, because more often than not you will just throw the shield instead of slamming back down into the ground. So if you want to do a slam, which is possible, you have to do the normal things you would do if you want to do a slam, but you have to spam the attack button like a madman, which will fairly reliably result in you throwing the shield and instantly following it up with a slam. And finally, since this is Baruch's signature weapon, it has a unique property when wielded by Baruch in that it will put enemies to sleep with a first hit, which is actually a great form of crowd control because it's not limited by the number of targets you hit. Now, even though the crit on the Cobra and Crane is pretty bad, I would still recommend going for a hybrid setup even after the nerf to Blood Rush. I would also recommend you go with Corrosive here instead of something like Viral, because you don't really have any damage over time, so Corrosive is gonna be your best bet, I feel. And if you'd want more damage out of the weapon, you can easily take out Primed Reach if you feel like you don't need the range, and you can replace it with more damage. This weapon is carried pretty hard by its stances. Final Harbinger, for example, has a ton of multi-hits, and it's just generally a strong stance, so even though the numbers on the Cobra and Crane aren't ideal, it can still dish out an absolute truck ton of damage. It's actually one of the reasons why I would recommend Primed Reach, because the stances tend to be very flaily, and if you have enough range, you will hit the enemies with basically every attack, which results in insane DPS. Now, as I said, this weapon on paper is just not all that great. The attack speed is pretty low, the damage distribution is terrible, and the crit is very low as well. But none of that really matters, because the stances for Sword and Shield are very strong, and when you put on a good build, the weapon will shred through absolutely everything. Plus, it's also very cheap and available from the market, so if you have the mastery rank for it, which once again is 10, I would absolutely recommend you pick it up. It's quite fantastic, especially when used on Baruch, because you then get the additional element of crowd control in there as well. So yeah, the Cobra and Crane, it doesn't fit the meta at all, but it's still a very powerful melee weapon, so definitely go ahead and pick it up. And that is pretty much it, so I thank you very much for watching. As always guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video and you found it helpful, and I will see you some other time. Bye bye.